Good afternoon. In this video, we're going to go over this week's watch list. Before I get into the watch list, if you're not in the room, you can find the link in the description of the video and in the bio sections of social media. I'd also like to mention that on this week's calendar, we have Fed Powell speaking at actually not speaking, he's testifying at Tuesday at 10 a.m. and Wednesday at 10 a.m. So make sure you write that down and aware that Powell will have an impact on the market on Tuesday and Wednesday at 10 a.m. So with that said, we'll get in the watch list, and on the bullish side, we have Boeing. Even though Boeing had news out this week about the engine, and there was another one in the Netherlands. So, but BA just doesn't seem to care about bad news and just does what it wants. So we'll be watching BA to see how it reacts to the news, but I wouldn't be a bit surprised if BA just shrugs off the news and just goes higher. So that's just how BA's been. BA just good news it pops. I mean, good news it drops, and bad news it pops. It's just it's one of those stocks that just acts stupid on news. So with that said, if it does manage to get over this 218 level, I would watch it for a push to probably you get 223 right here. Then you get let's see, 223, 224. Then you get this area of 228, 230. And if it gets over that, you get room to 235 and 240, even 245 maybe. We'll have to see if we can get any momentum going now. If it does manage to break over this 244 area, it's probably going to end up making a run to 250. And if it does manage to get over that, I mean, it could break out, but we'll have to see. I mean, BA's also got gaps down here in the 170 area, so that's quite a bit of a drop too. But we'll just have to see what BA does with the news. With that said, Pepsi is the next one I have on the bullish side. Now, I know Pepsi's been dropping quite a bit. Excuse me, over the last I don't know, few days, especially from earnings right here. But I'm looking at this support area right in around the 132. I mean, it gets underneath this 132, it likes to bounce. I mean, it did get down here into the 130s and it bounced, but right here it bounced at 132. So we'll have to see if it can turn around and actually bounce. So I'd watch it over 133 for a push to 134, 135. 136 will be a big area. Then you get basically all the whole dollars will be important on Pepsi. So anything over 133, I like to see a push to 135 plus, 136. We'll have to see if this will actually bounce this week. I mean, it can go lower. I mean, the weekly, one of the things that got my attention on it was not only the daily stochastics being oversold, but the weekly too. So whenever it gets on the oversold on the weekly, it ends up tending to bounce. So it's pretty oversold on the weekly. So I am thinking that we're gonna have a bounce, if not Monday, probably soon, probably maybe this week or next week. So definitely keep Pepsi on watch for a possible reversal. Now, Apple. I know that Apple has got room on the weekly to go down, but it's at this level, this 127. It bounced off the level. If it does manage to get over this let's say 131 area, it's probably going to push to 134 to 136, maybe even the 137, 138 area if there's any momentum behind it. But that will depend a lot on market conditions, and if I would imagine that SPY is just going to keep grinding up until something happens. Now, what will happen, I have no idea. Well, I was thinking to myself yesterday that I don't even remember the last time they even brought up like COVID numbers, like the latest death tolls and other numbers related to COVID. I don't even remember when was the last time they even mentioned that. And they really haven't mentioned nothing about vaccines lately either. It's been very quiet on the COVID-19 front, so, which is kind of odd considering that a lot of places are still in lockdown and a lot of places are still having restrictions. And I just thought that was kind of odd. So, but yeah, SPY could keep grinding up to 400. I mean, until something happens, it's probably going to keep gapping up and grinding up, and until something does happen. Now, question is, what will it be? So, next is going to be QCOM. QCOM, you know, it does have a gap right here. I mean, that's the only downside, that if it does get below this 142 area, it could probably make a run to fill the gap, which I would think, yeah, anything below 142 on QCOM would be a nice, you know, add for a long-term swing. But if it does manage to get over the 145 area, 146, probably going to push to 147.50, and you get this 150 area. Now if it breaks this 150 area, it's got room to run. It's got open air from the gap fill from earnings. So I would definitely watch it over 150. If it does get any momentum, any strength behind it could probably fill the gap. So QCOM could definitely be a good play. Walmart is another one. Walmart had a gap down from earnings. Now, if it does manage to get over, we'll just say 139 and push to 140, and it gets over 140, it could go for a gap fill. So I do like Walmart. Walmart makes way too much money. Too many people use Walmart for it to stay down. Every time it dips, it gets bought up and just takes off. I mean, right here, as you can see, it did it right there, and it got stuck in this the 137 area for a little while and just took off. I mean, Walmart, even though there is like a little bit of a head and shoulders on the weekly, it possibly can go down more. But I mean, Walmart makes too much money, and they're too valuable. It's just gonna this is a buy the dip opportunity on Walmart, in my opinion. So yeah, like I said, over 139 for 140, then it pushes over 140, it could go for a gap fill. So I definitely like Walmart. Now Facebook's just been bleeding. It's been stuck in this range, like the 280, well, let's say 290 to 250. It's possible it could go down to 250, but Friday it just kept bleeding and bleeding and bleeding. I know I tried to dip by it a couple times, a dead cat bounce on Friday, and just didn't happen. But if it does manage to actually turn around, I would like to see it over 263 for push to 265, then get a lot of resistance right in here in this 268, 270 area. Gets over 270, 275 will probably be the next big area. Probably will be actually a really big area, because you can see it was acting as resistance and support right over here. So that's going to be a big pivot, 275. If it gets over that, you know, get 280 and 285. So 283, 285. Now remember, support and resistance is not an exact number, it's an area. Now, it's possible that Facebook could drop more. I mean, it can definitely drop down to the 255, 250, even down to the 245 area before it actually has any bounce. But I'm definitely going to keep it on radar this week. So, yeah. Now on the bearish side, I have Roku. It seems like I always have Roku on the short side, but just, I mean, it's up there ridiculously, and I just think it's gonna pull back. It's gonna make a big pullback one of these days, and yeah, one of these days. So, but I've been shorting it, you know, in the commons in the room, pretty much almost daily. So I do like it. I mean, it just, when it gets up to this 480 level, it gets rejected here, it got rejected here, it got rejected. I mean, if it does manage to get up to 480, it's probably gonna get rejected again. They already had earnings. Nothing substantial. I mean, I just think it's going to come down, but you know, I could be wrong. I mean, I've been having Roku on my short side for the last few weeks, I think, few weeks, and it just manages to keep grinding up, but eventually it's going to run out of steam and pull back a little bit. I mean, the weekly, it's just got so much disconnect from, I mean, it's been outside the Keltner channel since October. And whenever it gets outside the Keltner channel, it likes to pull back in. So I mean, it could definitely pull back down to 400 if it gets any really serious weakness and pulls back. I mean, it's just so far disconnected from the RCT trend line on the weekly. So, and plus, if you look at the yeah, I can't see it on the daily one, but it's where was I on? I was on the hour. Let me see if I can bring up the where is it? Right here. Yeah, no, that's not going to show it. But anyways, yeah, I would definitely keep an eye on under 462 for push down to the 455, 450, 445, then 440. Now 440 will be a big area, and as you can see, it's a big pivot area. It acted as resistance here, then acted as support here. So that will be a big area. I would think that if it does drop, that's probably the area it's probably going to bounce. It's that 440 area, 445. Actually, if you have 440. So I would definitely keep an eye on that area if it does manage to drop. Now, we'll have to see. I mean, I think it's going to let some steam out. I mean, it's just been going up ridiculously. Now, one that's gone ridiculous on Friday was Baidu. I mean, it just had an insane run. I mean, the low of the candle was 301 and it went to 346. I mean, it went 45 points in a day. And Baidu does not make daily candles like this. As you can see, that's the biggest daily candle it's had. I mean, it gapped down right here on Thursday, and then it just popped. I just think it's gonna pull back. So usually when you have these big strong moves, they end up pulling back the next day. So we'll have to see if it pulls back tomorrow. Now, what ends up usually happening a lot is like stocks that are due for a big move, and then they don't move on Friday, or if they do move on Friday, that they end up having their bad day or their drop on a Monday. So that's why you end up seeing these stocks like Netflix that will chop on Friday. They don't make its big move on Monday because premiums are a lot higher on Monday. And now that Baidu made its big run on Friday, I think that a lot of people will end up not shorting, but be long bias on Monday for Baidu. I mean, Baidu will probably end up gapping up, but I'm assuming that if it does gap up, it could gap up to 350, then it will probably be a pop and drop. So we'll have to see what happens. But I'm definitely looking for Baidu to short tomorrow, if not Tuesday, either options. See, that's the other thing with Baidu. Baidu's spread is so bad that it just I hate trading options on it sometimes because the spread is just too nasty, and I end up going and getting the shares instead. So yeah, I would watch it underneath the I would say underneath 338, or you can even see, yeah, underneath this hourly candle right here. We'll blow it up so you can see it more. Get underneath this 338 area, then you get 325. Yeah, this 325 area will be big. Then you get 320, 315. Now we just remember it made a huge run. It could drop big to me. You look at it right here. Had big run, then it dropped big. Right here it had a decent run. It popped up, and it started to run a little bit. Then it ended up dropping. So we could probably end up seeing something like this on Baidu right here. You were hurt. I'll blow it up a little more. Where it had a strong move and it pulled back a little bit. Could gap up, like it did right here, gap up, make a run, then just dropping. So that we could see that tomorrow. So that's what I'll be watching from on Baidu. Now Netflix is another one that I'll be watching. Why the tickers aren't typing correctly. Now Netflix, like I said, has been staying in this 580 to 480 channel. Now I thought maybe we'd probably break over it this week, but it didn't. It's starting to push down, so I would watch it underneath this 538 for a push to 535. Then you get this 530 area. Then after 530, you get this 525, 520, and you get five. You can say the five. Basically, almost every $5 is going to be a support for it, for potential bounce. But if it stays within this channel, we could definitely see down to 500 again, depending on market conditions. So I would definitely keep an eye on Netflix. Now Disney, you get a bearish divergence going on the weekly, the daily, but the hourly says it looks like it wants to pop on the hourly, because you can see the MACD's down below the purple line is starting to curl. The stochastic's oversold, so you might see a gap up on Disney, then drop. But it's been holding this 183 area really well, right in here, a little too well. So it's been having a lot of downward pressure on it, but it just can't get below that 183. If it does, it gets quickly bought up. But I think that it's if the market's weak, it's definitely going to break, and it could actually definitely get below 183, and then you get this 180 area, which is going to be big. Then you get this let's see, this 179, 177, 175. That 175 area will be pretty big right there. 176, 175. Then you get a little bit of a gap right here at 172. This could be the area where it could bounce if it ends up dropping. Then you also get this 168 area. So this was the big area before it broke out. As you can see, it channeled in here, popped, and came back down. Did get below it a little bit right there, but it stayed right in there, and then it popped again. So I wouldn't be a bit surprised if Disney is actually weak and breaks that 183, that it's quite possible it could get back down to the 172, 170 area on that. So I would definitely watch that. Now Fedex is another one. Now Fedex, the thing I keep looking at on Fedex, I'm looking at, it could possibly be an inverted cup and handle. You get a cup right here and a possible handle right there. So if it does manage to break below this 252 area, you get 250 and 240. Now if it does manage to get to this 240 area right here, then also on the hourly you get head and shoulders. You get a left head and right shoulder. If it does get below that 240 area, the cup and handle, the inverted cup and handle on the weekly, and the head and shoulders on the daily and hourly, no, actually not hourly, but daily, could definitely play out. So just be aware that Fedex has got a weekly and daily setup for a bearish sign if it does manage to get to 240. So just keep an eye on that to see if that does play out. So, but that's pretty much it on the list. Now remember, the tickers that are on the bullish side, if the market's strong, I look at them. If the market's weak, I look at the bearish side. Just because they're on the bullish side or the bearish side list doesn't mean that I will stick to that. Sometimes I change it right away, and like I said with BA, I do have BA on the bullish side, but with the bad news and BA doing what it wants, I could switch on that based on how it gaps up overnight, how the price action is, and that's how you can't be too blind and be one-sided. You got to be ready to change your perspective and get onto the right side of the trade if the trade does not actually go the way you thought it would, which I'm guilty of that myself a lot, but trying to get better at it. So got to be ready to flip-flop on the trade and your decision based on what's happening in the market. So that's going to do it for the watch list. If you haven't subscribed, please do so, and please like the video, and thank you for watching.